You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey everybody out there, and welcome back to another brand new episode. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
This is not a rerun?
No.
Cool.
Fresh.
Fresh like the bread. Oh my gosh.
Well, let me just say this. 2020 sucks.
Yeah?
So what we should do is go back to 2019 and talk about some stuff from that year.
That everybody still cares about, I'm sure.
But we're moving forward, Cliff. We hate looking backwards. Unless, wait, are we going to put some things in order? That's
As
my favorite
we do.
thing to do.
As we do.
Is taking things and putting them in front of and behind other things.
Compare them to each other.
Yes.
Set them in stone.
I love it.
Yes, we are doing the Poobah Awards.
Okay, Dino, lights. He must be joking.
Oh, no, he's quite serious. And this is only the introduction.
When are you going to face facts? People are sick of your films.
Now I know what they mean by a captive audience.
Speak, O exalted Grand Poobah!
Must be that coat he hat he's wearing. And now for our feature attraction, the Poobah.
Favorite awards.
I am not a fanatic.
How many years has this been in?
Oh, man. I should have checked.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It's been a few.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just did our fourth movie preview, so we've probably been doing
That's probably
just as
the same.
long.
Well, actually, I think I know how long, because 2016's was never released.
That's the fabled
That's our only lost episode.
7-hour recording.
Oh, man, that was...
Yeah, we never released that, but so we have released, I think, just 17, 18, and then that seems.
So we should
like we've
set
done
a
more
goal, a patron goal, for if we hit a certain amount of patrons, then that episode will be released.
Good luck. Anyway, so we're looking back at the movies we saw last year, putting them in order. I, of course, always saw the most.
You are.
Yeah, and you're going to let me know when you have seen the movie and
Because
kind of
this
where
is-
it is on your list.
This is a one-man operation. You are the movie guru. You travel. You go out of your way to see as many movies as you can. And me and Cliff just follow up the rear when we can.
True.
So this is your opinion as of today, subject to change in the future.
Absolutely.
But as of this snapshot in history, these were the best movies in 2019.
What's funny about this podcast now has become when we record this, that's it. I'm not watching anything else from last year.
Ever.
So it's like I've literally cannot make myself go watch something. It's hard to, because now I'm just like, okay, I can put 2019 away. Up till today, it's like, okay, I could still watch something from last year and get it on the list.
That's really not that healthy.
Right.
To have that kind of compulsion.
I don't know. That's what this has created.
All right, so how many total movies did you see in 2019?
There's a little dip this year. Went down because earlier in the year I was doing my top 100 movies of all time. So I was rewatching a ton of movies in the first half of the year to prepare for that. So I didn't watch a lot from 2019. But I made it up in the second half. So I think I was around 90 some last year. But I was only 75 this year. There was a lot of documentaries in there too, and I think I decided last year I wasn't going to rank those unless something just really blew me away. So we're going to start with the documentaries and just list the ones I watched from worst to first real quick here. I watched some League of Legends documentary. It's a video game, and it was just about the people making it and people playing it and all that. It was the worst one. Well, documentaries are almost always interesting in some form. There was that one that lady, the inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley. We watched. Didn't you watch that, Cliff, where she was making a little tiny ways of testing your blood? It was a big deal. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I watched 2.
It's at the bottom of the list.
We're moving on. I watched 2 documentaries about the Fire Festival. Remember that? That was a thing way back earlier in the year. There was one.
Man, people really cared about that.
Yeah, there was one
in 2019.
That is so 2019. Yeah, those are both fine.
I need a cheese sandwich.
Yeah. I watched American Factory. That's one of them Obama Netflix things.
I just started that today. I'm
good.
about a half hour into it. It was
pretty good. It was like about I think it was China.
Yes.
Working with Americans coming, just working together to get a factory going, and owned by a Chinese company, and it was just very interesting.
Set in Dayton, Ohio,
yes.
So it's local.
These different cultures happen to work together, and there's a lot of things they admired about each other.
It sounds like gung ho.
It does. It does. It is like I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's not
Michael
Johnny.
Keaton.
I want to call him Johnny Dangerously, but
Michael Keaton classic.
yeah.
Also nominated for an Oscar too in documentary.
Oh yeah,
category.
it was. I watched Eye of the Beholder, the Art of Dungeons and Dragons. I watched Game of Thrones, The Last Watch. That was that documentary they had right after the series ended on HBO. Just about the making and the people involved. That was really good. Knock Down the House. It's a great one with AOC.
Yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed that.
Love and Tasha, which was about Anton Yelchin. It was just about his life. I did not realize he had cystic fibrosis, and just all the stuff he had to go through as every day. It was just amazing to find all this out, like his daily routine, to have to deal with that. And I knew a girl with cystic fibrosis that died, and so I know it's a very deadly disease, and that amazingly that's not what he died from, but it was a good documentary. On Netflix, we watched The Devil We Know, about locally.
Yeah.
So
right here.
Yeah. So great documentary about how we're getting screwed. And I think the most impactful documentary I watched this year was Leaving Neverland. That whole Michael Jackson crap.
Yeah. Torture for 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
I never watched more than that first half hour you showed me, so
Yeah.
I'm still fine.
It's like, watch it. I held his eyes open. Like you do. Okay, so the worst movie I saw this year. High Flying Bird. And some people liked it. This was Soderbergh's I think it was on Netflix. It's about an NBA lockout and a lot of business opportunities and wheeling and dealing, and I just was bored to tears, didn't like it.
Larry Bird?
No.
Okay.
Sue Bird.
It was just whatever. I don't know. Some people liked it, I didn't. A lot of people liked this movie. The Standoff at Sparrow Creek was on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu right now. And
What do you have against birds?
they're at the bottom.
Did you watch Bird Box?
They're way at the bottom. I don't like birds. Get out of here, birds. I was looking. There is another bird one way down here. Anyway,
I'm still waiting on Condor Man to come on Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still a little upset that it's not there yet.
Yeah. So, Standoff Sparrow Creek was, it was like about this militia. These, some police officer gets killed, and they believe it's some member of this militia, and they're worried. They're trying to figure out which of them did it, and it kind of was a neat idea that, again, I thought was done terribly, but some people liked it. Velvet Buzzsaw. Dan Gilroy had weird Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo, Toni Collette. I mean, David Diggs was in it, Malkovich. It was interesting and kind of fun, but it was just a little too
Something about that one would never get me to click on it. I just couldn't.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Cross that clicking threshold.
Well, something barely better. Polar.
Did
you watch that?
It's number 20 on my list of 25.
Wow.
So a little bit higher esteem than you.
Yeah. So, yeah. He was a retired assassin that realized he's the target. Crazy.
Mads Mikkelsen.
It was pretty.
And a comic book adaptation.
So. Oh, I don't even think I knew that. Vanessa Hudgens, yeah. It wasn't bad. I mean,
it was way over the top, way violent.
Yeah. Everything I've seen, from here on was totally watchable. It's just like most year. I think I've said that every year. People are like, "How do you watch those movies? There's got to be so much crap." Well, most of the stuff I enjoy watching. Nothing was really terrible. This is the craziest movie though I saw this year. And I tried to get people to watch it so they could suffer also. It was called Serenity. And it was Matthew McConaughey.
On the boat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's on Prime, I think. But it's like, it was ridiculous. It was like you find out. I'm just going to spoil it.
You spoiled it when it first came out.
Yeah, so I'll spoil it again. You find out towards the end it was a video game. And they were in a video game. It was so ridiculous. It's worth watching for the ridiculousness, but it is crazy. Saw Shazam. It's a little low on my list, but it's down there.
Ooh, that hurts.
I didn't like it.
It was 15 on my list.
Yeah. It's
I had good moments. It just wasn't as fun and bright as everyone else seems to think it was.
Yeah,
me. I didn't.
It started out okay, mostly stupid. I did not like the vibe of it. I just felt like it was too silly. And when there was at the end when there's like a whole bunch of them, I was like, just stop it. Cliff's like, I loved it. Great. It's just not for me.
You were familiar with the storyline and the characters.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not a big Shazam guy, but I watched the movie because I tried it out.
Yeah, it was just like the comics.
Yeah, it's like whatever. I don't remember that guy being a big jokey whatever, and I really thought it was stupid how much dumber he was as an adult.
That was the only part I did not care for.
Didn't make any sense.
Like, why was the kid
smarter than the adult version?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense because he's supposed to be a kid.
Right.
He's supposed to be a dumb kid. That's the whole premise.
So be a dumb kid before you change it.
Yeah, that was the only part I didn't like.
It wasn't terrible. Like I said, I just didn't love it.
Yeah, there was just a lot of stuff ahead of it on my. It wasn't. Yeah, I didn't dislike it, but it was just so much more good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see. It was a fun time at the movies, I'm sure. Her Smell, Alex Ross Perry movie with Elizabeth Moss. She's one of the best actresses today.
I'm picturing Moss Man from He-Man. Elizabeth Moss would smell like moss, but that's my own problem.
That's the movie I want now. Moss Man.
She plays like a self-destructive punk rocker or whatever. It's getting a lot of buzz. People like it. I thought it was fine. Didn't throw me. I watched Fighting with My Family. Florence Pugh, who's the new hot actress who's in everything. She's on several things on this list. Where talking about that real life story of a girl, but her family wanting to be wrestlers, and she was the one that makes it. And I don't know. I think they didn't have the vibe figured out for this. They were trying to be both funny and serious, and didn't get it right.
I saw it yesterday, or the day before, listed on Hulu. It popped up under movies.
It's on Prime now too, I think.
Yeah, I almost clicked it, and I was like, nah, I don't want to sit through that.
Yeah, it's got some. It's a little sloggy in places. They should have stuck with it being funny, I guess. Okay, I watched a movie that last year came out on Prime. I talked about this a few weeks ago, I think. Called One Cut of the Dead, where it came out on Prime for just a few hours mistakenly, and they took it back off earlier this year. Well, then everybody was like, "Oh, you got to see this! You got to see this!" So I watched it, and it's like it's a movie about a movie crew making a movie about a movie crew getting attacked making a movie about zombies getting attacked by real zombies. It was just like the most convoluted, so set up. Nothing looked natural. It was just like, I get what they're trying to do, but I thought it was going to be something else, and it wasn't. I didn't like it as well as everybody else. Okay, here's another bird movie I didn't care for. The Peanut Butter Falcon. It's had Shia LaBeouf and Zach Gottsagen, special needs guy. He did a good job. Shia did good. Dakota Johnson was in it. John Hawkes, Thomas Hayden Church, Bruce Dern, John Bernthal, a bunch of people. It wasn't terrible, but it's just down there on the list.
I remember the trailer and thinking, "Oh, it looks good," but also kind of assuming it's very much.
It's
very
just
preachy,
by the numbers.
We're all learning lessons and living together.
And there was a couple things that it was funny because I said, Nick and I watched it. I was like, you know what really bugged me? There was like one part early in the movie where the kid is getting bullied, and it looks like he's, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's something where the actor, Shia LaBeouf, does something that he shouldn't have known to do yet. Something hadn't happened yet, and he's already doing it. I'm like, they put that in the wrong order in the script, and you're just acting it out, and it's just terrible that they edited it and left it like that. Just not good. I watched the movie the other day. I bet you did not see yet. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
No, not yet.
Just came out to rent this week. It was number 60 something on my list.
I'm not expecting much from it, but I've stuck with Kevin Smith this long, so I'm gonna watch it.
I think, again, I like most of this stuff. So I did not dislike it. I watched the whole thing. It's exactly what you think it is. And there's some like little sentimental stuff in there. He's super sentimental now, but there are some good moments about stuff like that, and just like the relationship he has with his daughter and things. Now she's in it, and it's got everybody in it. And
I've heard that he smokes marijuana now.
Yeah.
So are there any references?
I didn't know. Is that a spoiler? Anyway, it's exactly what you think it is. I watched a movie that has a great title: The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot.
I have not seen this yet.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I kind of enjoyed it.
Or what are we up into the 60s now?
Yeah, we're in the 60s.
That sounds about right.
It's 64. That was 64, I think. Okay.
Or Sam Elliott.
Yep. Yeah, Sam Elliott. He was supposedly the guy that killed Hitler, and now he's, they need him to come. Now they need him to kill Bigfoot. And I have a moral problem with that, but I'll still watch it. Yeah, you watch it. I watched Bodied with Joseph Kahn is the director, and it was like it's about like rap battles, and it's got this white redheaded kid starts doing it, and it's very edgy, I guess you'd say. It had some neat ideas, but didn't live up to the hype for me. Always Be My Maybe. Cliff, you watched that on Netflix?
Yes, I watched that.
With Ali Wong, Randall Park.
And
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, and Keanu. I actually really liked that movie.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's
a rom-com.
Yeah. It was a rom-com.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Yeah.
Another movie you watched, The Beach Bum.
Oh, boy. I wish I hadn't watched it.
It wasn't bad.
Oh, it was awful.
Well, I remember Cliff explaining that movie, and then I didn't learn till later it was that Harmony Korine director who kids, I think. Okay. The movie Cliff was expecting to see,
right?
Not knowing that director and how weird he is.
That makes sense now.
Yeah,
it was fun, and there was a lot of fun moments in it, but it was stupid too, Cliff. You're right. The Perfection. I remember being on Netflix earlier in the year with Allison Williams, Steven Weber. It's crazy, and it has such an insane first half that the second half can't live up to it, but it's still, it had a crazy ending. Between Two Ferns, the movie.
Yeah, I watched that.
It was pretty good. I like Between Two Ferns. John Wick 3. Did you guys see that?
Nope. I have not seen any of those movies.
Oh, really? Well, they are super hyped, and I'm not a huge fan of them. Neat action. Really great action, but, they're getting all their stuff from the Raid. I mean, that's where all this new slick action comes from. Is
Yeah, you said you were never going to mention the Raid again. Sorry.
I did. But
Two Ferns was my 18.
Oh,
John Wick was 16.
okay. Great action. One of the best action things in that. They're like in that. Are they in a store or warehouse or something? And there's like knives and things that are throwing knives and doing all kinds of stuff. That's a great thing. And John Wick knows how to fire a horse. He knows how to shoot a horse.
Yeah, horse.
And I don't mean at a horse. He shoots with a horse.
Horse v motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
I just like 2 better though. It was a little tighter.
Yeah.
And I liked how 2 amped up the ridiculousness of it. And all the world built with the coins and the secret society and every hobo on the street's a secret assassin.
Yeah.
Like that, I was like, yes, go all in for that. Yeah. So 3 just didn't up it for me. It just didn't do anything really
felt
new.
To me like nothing made sense to me. There was cool stuff with the dogs. I mean, lots of cool action.
It was a good action.
But the story feels like they were spending all their time setting up John Wick 4 and not just dealing with what they'd set up the last movie. So
it made me scared of dogs though.
Yeah,
Dogs will mess you up.
I don't want any of that. I watched Isn't It Romantic with Rebel Wilson, Liam Hemsworth, Adam Devine.
Oh yes, I mistakenly.
Where she hits her head and now she's like
it was horrible.
The Bachelorette or something type thing. She's living in a fantasy world
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was that bad. It was all right. Late Night is an Amazon movie.
How was that? That was Mindy Kaling.
It's pretty good. It's more Emma Thompson than Mindy Kaling. Yeah, you realize it's more Emma Thompson's vehicle, but she does a good job.
Yeah, I like her too.
She's really good. It's worth watching. I liked it. She plays like a late night host that's getting pushed out, and she has to try to change things up and start, making it more her show instead of just doing what she's been doing all these years. And it was pretty good. Brittany Runs a Marathon is on Prime. It's about this like heavy girl, Jillian Bell is her name, and the actress, and she like decides to make some positive changes. She's going to run a marathon. And it's just her getting ready for that. She's kind of a funny character. It's got heart too. Honey Boy. That's the movie. Shia LaBeouf plays his dad, and that new kid, Noah Jupe and Lucas Hedges both play the Shia LaBeouf character. Noah Jupe was in Quiet Place and a few other things in the last couple of years. He's one of the newer young kids, and Lucas Hedges has been in all kinds of movies also. But it was pretty good. Went and saw that in Athens. Shia LaBeouf was great. He is. I think he's a really good actor, and I watched an interview with him talking about. He was just like, I was in rehab, and my career was over. A few years ago when he was everybody thought he was crazy and everything. And he's like, that's when he wrote this, and he was like, I was just trying to write my way out of this place, and so I started dealing with things, and it's basically about how he would use his things that happened to him when he was younger to fuel his acting and scenes. Like he's like, I can go there because I know what it feels like, to have gone through this stuff. But his therapy was telling him to try to deal with that stuff and get rid of it, so he wasn't going to have it anymore to use, and just the complexities of that. It was interesting, but it wasn't as good as Stuber. Neither of you guys saw that? Kumail Nanjiani, Dave Bautista. He drives an Uber and gets hijacked for a stupid time. It Chapter 2. Speaking of young actor kids, you didn't see the first one either. One
No, I saw the first one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw the first one.
Well, the first one was way better. You don't need to see the second one. They had some good ideas. There's a great Stephen King cameo, because he likes to make cameos in a bunch of his movies. But he's like working in a store or whatever, and James McElroy is playing a writer. He's one of the kids grown up, and he's a writer now, and he sees that Stephen King is reading his book, and the Stephen King character, whatever. He's like, "Hey, you want me to sign that?" He's like, "No, I don't like the ending," which is a great Stephen King joke because so many people don't like the endings to his books. Downton Abbey. I went and saw the Downton Abbey movie. Well, I rented it, whatever what came out. I like that show. If I didn't mention it on our best series of the decade, I should have, because I got called out for that. By the way, I really love that series from beginning to end. So it wouldn't have made my top 10, but I did like it. I watched Wild Rose. Well, by the way, Downton Abbey, it's just about, oh my gosh, gotta clean this place up. It's all it's ever been. We gotta straighten this place up quick. Anyway, Wild Rose, Jessie Buckley. I don't think I'd ever seen her in anything else, but she's apparently been in some things. I was looking at her stuff here. Yeah, I've never seen her before, but she was good. Like, good actress, singer. She's trying to make it. She lives in. She's Scottish. She's trying to get to Nashville to be a country singer, and she can't get out of the country and go do it. And she's struggling, and it's just her whole process, trying to learn to be a mother and live the life she's handed. And it's got a great, good song moment at the end that brings it home, which has an amazing story behind that. Mary Steenburgen apparently was in some sort of accident or something in the last couple of years, and when she got through it, suddenly it had awoken something in her. It's a crazy story.
I remember hearing about that.
And suddenly she's like able to write all this music and these songs and stuff, and she wrote this song at the end. I read this whole big thing about it. It's a crazy story. Anyway, Glass. Where was Glass on your list? Glassed?
Dead last.
It was dead glassed?
Yeah. Not that my hopes were super high.
Yeah.
But I give Shyamalan, I still give him the benefit of the doubt, and it was just a mess. There wasn't much. As much as I love Unbreakable, that's the only thing I could hang on that. Like, yeah, I used to like this.
Yeah. It's this high for me just because I like Unbreakable that I was still trying to watch.
And it just, okay, we put all the characters together from Unbreakable and Split, and you have Samuel L. Jackson in a wheelchair, and he doesn't speak for like the first hour of the movie. And it's like you're putting them all together to see how they interact, and he doesn't for half the movie. It's like, what are you doing?
You're not making me want to watch it again. I know that. Yesterday. Did you see that, Cliff?
No, that's the movie with where the guy wakes up and nobody has ever heard of the Beatles but him.
Right, and he happens to be a singer.
Yeah.
Plays piano, guitar, and whatnot, so he starts playing Beatles songs, and it's amusing. It's amusing him trying to play. I like seeing he's trying to play Hey Jude for his parents, and they keep interrupting him. They get phone calls, and they're just like, it's no big deal, and they're like, he's like, but this is the greatest song ever, and they're like, well, a little full of yourself, I think what I didn't like about it was they totally wasted the concept. Like, I mean, it was such a waste on this happy-go-lucky movie when I want to see the sci-fi version of what would the world be like if the Beatles hadn't existed. Because this did not figure that out. It was very okay. Dragged across concrete. You saw this, right?
Yeah, I just saw this one very recently.
S. Craig Zoller. He did Bone Tomahawk, which with Kurt $5 Bill Russell and Brawl in Cell Block 99. But I like both of those movies a lot.
So it was on Cinemax. I had a free weekend one weekend. I said, that's a Mel Gibson movie. Who cares? And then I saw the director. I'm like, oh, that's that guy. And I know you had liked those movies. Like, oh, it's a pedigree director. Maybe I could give it a chance. Oh, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. And it's ugly. There's parts of it that are just ugly.
Yeah.
It's not a fun watch. It left me feeling kind of icky, so I had to put it in 19. That it's quality made,
Yeah.
but it just didn't.
It has moments. You can see that there is interesting things he does, but felt like it had an agenda to be gritty. I mean, his stuff is gritty and purposefully, but it's trying to it does feel like it's trying to sell you that the good old days.
And
We used to be able to do whatever we wanted.
And to make you okay with Mel Gibson again, everybody. Right. You've been too tough on Mel Gibson.
Well, let me tell you. Captain Marvel. So that's probably...
I had that at 13, so just barely above Shazam.
Yeah.
I liked it more the second time I watched it than the first.
I've never gone back a
Me
second
either.
time.
I have no
I keep
want.
meaning to, but
Yeah.
It was fine. I remember thinking it was decent.
by the numbers. We're so spoiled with Marvel movies that
I really like Sam Jackson in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretending to be younger, barely be able to run around.
Yeah.
Dark Waters. That's basically the dramatized version of The Devil We Know.
Yeah, I'd never really heard any feedback on that.
How long did that? I mean, I assumed it played around here, but it wasn't out long, was it?
Played in Parkersburg in their smallest theater.
Sounds about right.
It holds about 50 people. When I went and saw it, it was standing room only. People were in there. It's like, hey, this is the town it happened in. Maybe you would want to give people the opportunity to see it. And they did end up keeping it longer than they had intended because everybody was going to see it. And like I said, this is about the whole DuPont thing and, just about the forever chemicals and how, just explain all that. The document, I would have liked it better if I had already seen the documentary and knew every detail. This was just such a paint by numbers, one lawyer against the world, representing these people. And, oh, man, we're going to bring him all these files and overload him with it. And he has to dig his way out to find the stuff. It's just like, it wasn't that well done. It didn't do anything new or super interesting. And I prefer the documentary.
And I realized that those kind of movies, there's always a distance where you watch, like, oh, those poor people. It's such a shame bad stuff happened to those people. It's like, oh, those are me. That's me. I'm them people.
Yep.
Yeah. And but just them showing, in both the documentary and the movie, just the fact that people getting their blood tested, at the end, it's like, I got my blood tested, it's like, it's crazy, but it was fine. The Report on Prime. This was Adam Driver. It was all about the study into the CIA's detention and interrogation program, the waterboarding and all that stuff, and him and Dianne Feinstein. He played Daniel Jones, Annette Bening played Feinstein. It was really good. He does a really good job. There's a couple scenes that he'll keep in his reel in there because it was just excellent stuff. But again, it didn't blow me away. I've seen the story. You can only watch so much corruption before you're like, it's not fun anymore. Triple Frontier, that's fun corruption. You guys watched that earlier on in the year, or you did for sure, Jordan. And I just recently was like, you know what, I'm going to watch it because I remember you said it wasn't that bad. And you know what? It wasn't that bad.
I had it at 22. Just, good actors and an interesting story, but nothing, super.
I had such a big cast, Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Garrett Hedlund, Pedro Pascal. I think the only thing that ruins, just doesn't help movies like that is when they make dumb decisions. I like when they, there's a cool action movie like that and they're going to get away with the movie, one more job or whatever. It's just when they make stupid decisions, I'm like, okay, the story doesn't make sense anymore. They always got to stay too long. Long Shot. We all saw Long Shot. That's the Seth Rogen.
Yes.
Yeah. And Charlize Theron.
Yeah, I never know what to expect with Seth Rogen because when it comes... Typically, if it's a Seth Rogen, James Franco movie, I don't even bother with it. But some of his stuff I really like, and other stuff it does nothing for me.
I remember this was originally going to be called Flarsky. When it was announced the year before, there's like, this movie's coming out called Flarsky, because that's his name in the movie is Fred Flarsky. And luckily they changed it to something else.
I really liked this movie. I thought it was fun. It was a romantic comedy with Charlize Theron.
She's playing a politician running for president.
Yeah, and she was really good in it.
Yeah, and
she is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't appreciate her because I had just seen Tully shortly before that, which is very opposite.
That's a far superior movie.
Yeah, but it's like her role in that is kind of an overweight. She's got love handles and stuff, and she's kind of a mess of a mom struggling, and then this super well put together Washington elite. Like her range.
She can do it all.
Yeah, she's terrific. This movie I put number 10. It's in my top 10 of the year.
Wow.
And obviously, I didn't see a lot. The next movie I see will bump it out of the top 10. But for right now, I had no expectations. It's just a rom-com.
I have no problem with that.
I just enjoyed it the heck out of it.
I absolutely did.
And
I would recommend it if I was going to say, if a couple was looking for something to watch.
Yeah.
Watch that. You're going to have a good time.
It was just funny. That's the number one job, is to be funny.
Right.
And then it had some good social commentary, too, of making jokes about her being a woman and like, well, why does it? Well, yeah, you're a woman. Like that kind of women in politics kind of, let's laugh at the current political system too. So
right. So she knew him from school, and he's a speechwriter. So that's what he becomes her speechwriter. Just it's the ridiculousness of him being with her, And it just felt like when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's another knocked up. It's just a schlub who doesn't deserve to be with this hot chick, but it's more than that for sure. I watched a movie called Paddleton on Netflix.
The British bear in the raincoat?
Not Paddington. Although there was a lot of marmalade in it. No, this was Mark Duplass and Ray Romano.
Oh, I remember you mentioning that.
It was good. It was one of them is dying of cancer, terminal cancer, and they just live in the same apartment building. It's one of those things where they live together, became friends, start their apartments one's above the other, and they'll play the Paddleton's a game they made up that they just play out in the parking lot or whatever. But it's all about this, guy's dying, and this friend, helping him, dealing with it, and watching him die, basically helping him die. And I thought it was really good, and Ray Romano does really good in it. I would recommend it. A few weeks ago I watched The Nightingale. It was on Hulu.
Bird.
Huh?
Bird.
Yes, it's a bird movie. No, it's set in 1825, and man, anytime you get back in there, all I can think of is how the women in that time are so like in danger.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? There's like, and I'm sure they were like, I don't know, you always get the vibe like somebody's gonna hurt one of these women, or come to your farm and do something. I don't know. It's just like, this definitely was that movie. It was about that, but just terrible, awful things happen, and this woman tries to get revenge. Her and a native of, I'm trying to think where they were. It was Aborigine. She's Irish. There's British soldiers, and anyway, in the Tasmanian wilderness, and she and an Aboriginal tracker worked together to try to get revenge, and it's really dark, but it was good. Dolomite is my name. That's that Eddie Murphy movie on Netflix. Did you watch that?
What number was that?
Well, let's find out.
So my
28?
20. Oh, we're that far up? Okay.
Are we? Yeah.
It was my number 7, also in my top 10. I really, really liked it.
Some of my early numbers are off because I started counting 75, but I didn't count all the documentaries. So,
but Craig Brewer, who I wish made more movies, did Hustle and Flow and Black Snake Moan, which are 2 of my absolute favorite movies.
Yeah, great.
So that Dolomite definitely had that same feel as Hustle and Flow of, we're just going to make it. We got to do whatever it takes, any means necessary with our own skills, our own talent. We're going to make it. And
that's
those
exactly
kind of stories,
what this is. Yeah.
Those kind of stories always get me. But yeah, the first half hour, 45 minutes didn't. It wasn't until they really got into the movie making it really clicked for me. So it was a little slow to get started for me. But once it was in, I was all in.
Oh man, that scene with the bed and stuff was so funny. And so, I just love that. It's like, we're going to make our own thing and do whatever we got to do.
And I'd never heard any of his albums, or I've never watched any of the original movies. So I'm sure there's a ton of references. And, they kept showing, drive the car. Like, I'm sure.
That's straight out
like
of it.
a fan favorite scene because they showed it like 4 times. But even without those connections to the source material, I still enjoyed the heck.
But Eddie Murphy was all in the whole time. He was not like too good to do anything in this movie, and I thought he was great. Booksmart. Did you watch that?
Nah,
you should watch that.
Didn't get to that one.
I would think you would like that. This was the one directed by Olivia Wilde. Did you watch that, Cliff?
No,
it's got freaking crazy Billy Lord in it.
Yeah, I came home from somewhere, maybe work one night, and my wife was like, well, we started to watch this movie your daughter picked out.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go to your room, Carly.
Yeah.
Peek your head out the door, Carly, but don't stick around.
No, I didn't see it.
It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's Caitlin Dever, Beanie Feldstein, which is Jonah Hill's sister, Jason Sudeikis.
Jonah Hill is her brother.
That's true. That's true. But it was good. I thought it was really good. It's just a high school movie. Basically, these girls are kind of goody two-shoes and hit the books, did everything right in high school because they want to go to good colleges, and they find out, they're getting ready to graduate, and all of a sudden, everybody else that dicked around is going to good colleges.
Yeah. And
so they're like, whatever, we're going to have one last night of partying like everybody else. And it's just like the girl super bad.
Man, I'm glad I dicked off in high school.
I thought it was really good. Ad Astra. It's that Brad Pitt goes to space to find his dad. It was pretty good. Pretty. No, I did like it. I like that sci-fi, timey space stuff.
So have we crossed over into...
They're all good.
Where these are all recommended. These are all worth.
This, I think in retrospect, I probably wouldn't have this above like Booksmart or Dolomite, but it's where it is. I'm not out recommending Ad Astra now, but I liked it fine. Ford versus Ferrari. This is a really dads across America will love this movie. And I'm sure they went and saw it. And I did. And I'm a dad. And I liked it. I like cars and Christian Bale and Hat Damon. He put his this is the origin of Hat Damon, where he put on a hat and suddenly he's Carroll Shelby and didn't do half the job that Christian Bale was doing, but it was good. They kind of told the story of Le Mans and the battle against Ferrari to try to be the top dog. The best part of the movie is Tracy Letts playing Henry Ford II, I believe, and he's just getting in the car with Hat Damon. He drives him out in the GT40 or whatever, and it just him realizing, it was obvious he'd never rode in this race car before. He's like taking him out and showing him what it does, and just tears. You think that it's like scaring the crap out of him, and it is. But it's more just like, oh my gosh, if my grandfather could see what cars have become, like what has come from this. It was a really nice moment. Bombshell. Speaking of Charlize Theron, I think she's nominated for something for this.
I don't. Yeah.
I know Margot Robbie is.
Yeah.
It's her, Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron has some like prosthetics to make her look like Megyn Kelly. It's all about the Roger Ailes stuff, and you watched the documentary, right?
Yeah, I watched the Russell Crowe miniseries on Showtime, so I got the full experience.
Yeah.
And that's the reviews I heard. The movie just kind of didn't go for the throat. It played it a little safe and tried to not show all the horrible things that happened, but just kind of glossed
It implied
the
horrible things. Didn't show them. John Lithgow played Roger Ailes. He was great. I thought he was really good, but I kind of would want to see that other thing you saw because they all did fine. And it didn't like make anybody look better than they should or anything. It was good. It was good. They all did a good job. I don't know that anybody in that movie should be up for an award. I don't agree with that. Toy Story 4. Mm-hmm. You heard of it?
Heard of it. Solid.
I barely remember it, but it's pretty high on my list. I liked it.
It had Duke Kaboom.
Oh, yeah. I just remember being freaked out by that Howdy Doody doll.
Yeah. That thing was pretty creepy. Yeah.
That's creepy. It was good. I like that.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was unnecessary, but did not ruin the series. It was still.
That's all we could ask for.
Hey, anything that gave us Forky, I'm okay with.
Yeah, Forky is a hit.
Forky's the Baby Yoda of Pixar.
Oh. I think I prefer Forky. I prefer Forky. Yeah,
Forky ask a question. That's my favorite thing.
The Art of Self-Defense. So Riley Stearns movie, newer director, I believe. It's got Jesse Eisenberg. It's really dark. It's like he gets like attacked, and he decides to start learning karate. And I think it's karate, whatever. It's one of those, and it's really odd, and I would definitely recommend it. It's a very indie movie. Imogen Poots is in it. But I like Jesse Eisenberg, and this is exactly the type of movie he should be doing. When he goes to buy a gun, it is hilarious. Just the things the guy says when he's selling it to him, that it's just so true. It's like, you can't buy that. You have to wait, and then you can. I can't do it justice. It's really good. Hustlers. That was good.
Didn't see it.
Well, it was pretty good.
I wanted
Lily Reinhardt.
My wife wanted to go see it, and we just didn't make it.
Speaking of something I didn't expect people to be getting awards for.
Yeah. Well, they're not.
Or nominations.
Well, yeah. People are upset they're not getting awards for it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Some of the, people looked over, but yeah, Jennifer Lopez, if she was ever going to get nominated, she did a good job in this. And Constance Wu, Julia Stiles, Lily Reinhardt. It was good. It was like they were. I'm trying to think what I would have compared it to, but
does it rank with the Serpent Dance?
It's
how could it?
It's her performance. Like, she learned. I'm sure she trained for this movie by.
Honestly,
it's probably her audition reels. I don't remember. Watch my Serpent Dance.
I remember Cliff sharing a bunch of stuff about her like training for this. I think, but I don't. But
that sounds like Cliff.
But I don't. Honestly, I saw the movie and I don't remember her doing any dancing in it. So. But she did a good job. She played a very particular type of character that was very different from Riverdale Betty, but she did a really good job. Very entertaining.
I saw she was in maybe it was People magazine's like top 25 under 25
she should
last year.
So is she going to be
after
the one?
This movie?
Is she going to be the one that has a career after
breakout?
This show?
Yeah.
Well, she's the breakout. Yes, absolutely. After spending the whole day watching Riverdale today, catch up for you guys. I think she's the best. Anyway, it was a better movie than you think it is. I mean, I don't know that it necessarily.
This isn't Demi Moore's striptease movie.
No, this is not the Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
No, this is more serious. They are hustling. Deciding, hey, we're gonna take advantage of these men instead of them taking advantage of us, and it was really well done, just showing how they're going about it and everything, and it was good. Midsummer. This was that Florence Pugh I mentioned earlier from Playing with My Family. This is Ari Aster, who did Hereditary. These are the new horror directors, that really creepy, weird horror that gets to you, not necessarily comfortable to watch. This isn't a paranormal lamps flying around the room. This is a horror in broad daylight, like where they go in Sweden. I think they go to a festival. It's one of those deals where it's light almost all the time, and it's the first horror movie I've ever seen where there's no darkness at all, and it was really good. Still, like, hard to walk away with a great feeling and say that was a great movie, because I just feel uncomfortable. And it has a very similar vibe to Hereditary. This guy definitely has a
But
feel.
if its point is to be unsettling,
it did its job.
It succeeded.
It did its job.
Unsettling you.
Yeah, she was great. It's got a lot to it. If you like horror movies, you should check it out.
We're getting into like the really good ones, so let me burn off the junk at the bottom of my list. So I don't talk.
Okay, do it.
My 24 was 6 Underground, the Michael Bay action movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Netflix movie. It just, like, Michael Bay is like, I want to be more Michael Bay. And it was just over the top violence, crazy, and like showing. I don't mind action movies; they're fun, and car crashes and stuff. But he took pains to show the human suffering of all of this, but not in any critical way. Like, every car crash showed the guy driving, like, getting crushed or impaled by something, or like the guy falls out the window and the car rolls over on it. Like, it was not bloodless violence. It was like, let me show how incredibly violent this is. Isn't it fun? I was like, this is creepy. The Dirt. Did you watch that one?
No, I remember you guys did, but it didn't do it.
I knew it wouldn't be higher on your list than that.
Yeah.
That's the Motley Crue.
I like Motley Crue, but I had no want to watch these people pretend to be Motley Crue.
Yeah, it was watchable, but not exciting. X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, you did go see that.
Yeah,
Fox.
we went and saw that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think you guys did.
Yeah, I think we did.
Did we go? Yeah, okay, sure.
I think we went.
I've blocked that.
Sure.
I think we didn't. Maybe Michael went with us.
Now you're crazy.
Don't remember. What? Not a bad movie again, but just sort of
it was
the steam's out of the Fox thing, and it was just like, let's get it over with. My number 17, just watched the other night, In the Tall Grass, another Netflix movie. This was based on the novella co-written with Stephen King and Joe Hill. It's a couple. They pull over on the side of the road, and they hear a kid in this sea of really tall grass going like, "Help! Help!" Like, "Where are you, kid?" And they go in and they get lost in the grass, and it's spooky and weird things are happening. But it does some cool stuff with time and supernatural sort of stuff. So it was worth a watch, but not the best.
Somebody else said it was pretty good.
It had Patrick Wilson in it, was the biggest name. And my number 14, which I no one agrees with me on this, but the Hellboy movie, I had it above a couple of the other comic movies this year. I'm a huge Hellboy fan in the comic. The Guillermo del Toro movies were fine. I like them. And then this movie just, with David Harbour, it was in theaters for like a week. Everyone, critics hated it, fans didn't like it. It just bombed completely. And so on HBO, I'm like, well, I got to give it a shot. And I just enjoyed it. It was just fun to me. And I don't want to say it's because, I've read way more Hellboy than you, so I understood all these references. But it threw in 80 references and characters and history and mythology, and it was a mess. But it was just a fun mess.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it's just you have to read a comic. You have to read the comic to understand all this stuff. And I asked a friend of mine, who's read them all as well. He's like, oh, I turned it off within like 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, so maybe it's just me. I was in the right mood for it, and I found it to just be enjoyable. It was not a good movie, but it was just a pulpy. Had Lobster Johnson, the pulpy adventurer, was played by Thomas Hayden Church, and it was very like, come on, chum, we're gonna go out there, and it was like you just had to be in that frame of mind.
That's exactly what Hellboy is.
Yeah, so it was all the stuff I like about Hellboy finally on the screen, because Del Toro did a wonderful job, but he put his own spin on it. It wasn't the Hellboy coming off the page. So yeah, those were ones I assumed you hadn't seen by this point.
I think I'm at my 19th is The Lighthouse. This was Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and Robert Edgers is the director. He did The Witch, we really liked. I know the mayor liked it. This movie's crazy. Like, they're just working at a lighthouse in the 1890s, and there's so much to like about it. The only thing is it's very confusing and things, what's going on, type thing, but they do such a good job of annoying each other. Willem Dafoe was not nominated for anything that I know of for this, and that is a travesty. He was so good in this. He had won for a Florida Project a couple years ago, but man, he's so good in this. You should watch it just for that.
He gets a Poobah Award. So.
Yes, I'm giving the Poobah Award to Willem Dafoe for this. It's excellent. It's just this is a movie. They went all out with the ridiculousness.
Willem couldn't be here tonight, so accepting on his behalf.
Yeah. Definitely worth checking out. Nick and I just looked at each other like, what the hell did we just watch when it was over? Like, did I like that? I don't know, but they were all in when they made it, so. It's in black and white. It's like in a 4:3 scale, wasting your TV. I don't know what's happening, but I liked it.
Take a big swing. That's fine.
That's right. It's definitely not a cookie cutter movie. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
My number 9.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, I just kept putting things above it. It was really good, but okay,
I liked it. Yeah. But, The Irishman.
My number 5.
Yeah, it is good. I thought everybody did a good job. It's got a bunch of good people in it. Got a great director. But it didn't do anything special as far as I was concerned. It was 3.5 hours of painting houses. I thought the CGI was so bad that, the aging, like, whoever is giving them a pass for this, I'm not. Yeah, Poobah says no.
If you're talking about Sam Jackson appearing old in digital de-aging, seeing De Niro kind of hobble around when he's supposed to look 40 and he's still kind of like wobbling.
You could have at least not called him kid early on. It's like, hey kid. It's like, what? It's like, this is an old man. I was like, I don't know. It's just like that did not work for me. I thought that de-aging was terrible. They should have never even done that. I don't even know what they're thinking. Should have had somebody else play him younger or something.
But yeah, I liked a lot of the scenes. I liked everyone in it. It didn't have that forward momentum that the best of Scorsese's movies do. Yeah. That just push to, things just build and build and then it explodes.
Everybody's great in it. Yeah. I think I was telling you the other day, I like the idea of them dealing with, Scorsese's done all those gangster movies and things, and it's like now this movie shows like, hey, you're aging. Eventually, what did any of that matter? I'm old. And
So I saw somebody call it his Unforgiven. So it's looking back at the century of gangster movies and the violence and where are we now? Where did it get us? Yeah.
I don't know that it needed to be that long to get that point across, but I do want to rewatch it sometime. But it's up there. I liked it. One higher than that, The Joker, or just Joker. I'm sorry, but Todd Phillips' Joker.
I had that at 11. So just
Yeah.
that's kind of where I was with that movie. Like it was good, but it was also I don't know. It was just right middle of the pack for me.
I don't like all the stuff surrounding this movie. I don't like what it represents. I guess
stuff people make 2-hour podcasts about.
Right. Yes. I don't like that, but I did like the movie, and I thought he did a great job. He's definitely got, just spoilers, he's gonna win the Oscar for Best Actor, but he has never, and I think he does a really great job at this, and he deserves to win one at some point, so I'm fine with it being this year. One above that, Us. Very earlier on in the year, Jordan Peele's Us. Lupita Nyong'o. I mean, he has to have been like, when he sees the performance she gave in that movie as he's doing it, he has to be like, we're winning everything.
Did she win the
Enough.
Best Actress in a Poobah Award?
Oh, she is totally overlooked. I can't believe that she was not nominated for this. She was amazing.
In horror movies, it's always an extra step to get a genre.
Yeah, but
Joker aside.
Yeah, my thing is she has been nominated before. So once you've been nominated for an Oscar, you're in the club or whatever, and they start paying attention to what you do. And she should have totally been up there again. So you loved this movie, right?
I had it at number 3.
It could have been higher.
I'm sad I haven't watched it a second time because there's a lot of stuff I'm sure you pick up the second viewing.
Yeah.
But talking about, the horror's not my favorite genre, but it was so creepy and unsettling and had something to say about society. So yeah, when I told the story before, when I got home from the movie theater at midnight that night, there was a deer in my yard. And it scared the ever-loving crap out of me. So, that movie was successful. It, made me jumpy and creeped me the heck out. So, that's all you can want from a movie.
Yeah, that's good. El Camino.
You said that wasn't on your list.
Huh?
Does that count as a movie? Or
yeah,
I counted it as a TV show.
No, it's a movie.
Not on my list.
Well, I like Breaking Bad. I thought this was good. It's more Breaking Bad. Best part to me is Jesse Plemons singing Yacht Rock driving down the road. That's the only thing that takes you out of it, though, is Jesse Plemons is way too fat in this movie for when it's supposed to be set. But it made me think how cinematic Breaking Bad is, and it didn't do anything different, but just like the above view of the apartment that Jesse's searching, they made it the exact size of the camera lens, and built this whole set for him to search and just taped him for hours so they could play it on sped up and things.
The montage stuff from Breaking Bad's second to none. But it's gonna, if you don't have Netflix, it's gonna premiere on AMC here in a couple weeks. So it's right before Better Call Saul comes back, they're premiering El Camino on AMC.
It's this high because I love Breaking Bad, and this didn't hurt Breaking Bad. It was just a nice little treat. Little Women. I went and saw. This is a Greta Gerwig's Little Women. Should have been up for best editing or best adapted screenplay. Something. She totally changed. There's a famous book, Louise May Alcott, about, it's been done before a couple times. I know in the early 90s they did one, and she changes the story in the order of it. It starts in the where the story would end, and flashes back and forth the whole time. And it was, as far as I'm concerned, it was totally the way the story should be told. She made some changes and to the script and just did a lot of things that fixed this story. And I like period pieces, like I said. I like it's all of a sudden it's 100 years ago. You know, it's cool. Everybody did good. I like Saoirse Ronan's awesome in it, and this Florence Pugh was in this also. I think she's up for Best Supporting Actress for this, for playing Amy March. But Greta Gerwig should have been nominated for something, but she's a woman. She's a woman. She can't be nominated. Jojo Rabbit, my number 12. You didn't see this?
No.
This is a Jordan movie.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it was good. Man, just great acting by. There's a couple the main kid actor's good. There's another kid in there that just looks like the kid from Up. He just looks exactly like him. It's so funny. He's great. It's just absurd talking, dealing with, Nazis and just wanting to be a part of something. And, Taika plays Hitler in a hilarious way. It's so well done. And the surprise to me actually is how good Scarlett Johansson was in it. She plays the kid's mother, and she's really great in it. Really great. This was her year. Definitely recommend that. My number 11, The Farewell, Lulu Wang. This is that Aquafina movie. It was a This American Life episode at one time, talking about this story of their culture in China, where sometimes they won't, if a family member's dying, they won't tell them, so they don't start thinking about dying, and maybe they'll live longer that way. And they had to think of an excuse to go visit her grandma, and so somebody has like a fake wedding, and they go over there and visit her. And Aquafina's great in it. Should have been nominated for something.
Also not nominated.
Right. And also the overlooked the grandma that they're going to visit. I don't know that actress's name. She was great also and should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actress. It's ridiculous. But phenomenal movie. Surprising where it goes. There is a scene that I can't believe I haven't seen a GIF of a million times. That just like where the story goes, you're like, is not what I expected, I guess. And someday after you've seen it, we'll talk about it. It is going to be on Prime this month. So, okay, that was my number 11. We're at my top 10. A movie you've never heard of, Light of My Life. Just randomly, we were looking for a movie to watch one day. This is Casey Affleck stars and directs this movie. A parent and child journey through the outskirts of society a decade after a pandemic has wiped out half the world's population. As a father struggles to protect his child, their bond and the character of humanity is tested. This is like the opposite of Why the Last Man. Women, there's a disease, and his wife, played by Elizabeth Moss, and everybody, all the women are dying. So there's a very few females that were immune to it, and so imagine that world where you're raising a daughter in a world with no women.
I already can.
Anyway, it was really good. We really enjoyed it. I was surprised by it. I mean, he's super problematic, but I really enjoyed the movie, and I like that alternate future type thing. What would happen?
Does he have a big beard?
Oh, of course, he's got a big beard,
okay.
long hair. Of course,
The bigger the beard, the more I can think.
Yeah.
Casey Affleck.
It was great. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, number 9. Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. And this movie is not about Mr. Rogers.
Yeah,
Did you ever see this,
He's
Cliff?
supporting actor in this.
Did you see this, Cliff? You
Nope.
didn't go watch this? I thought for sure you would.
I watched the documentary on HBO.
Yeah, that's about Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
This is about Lloyd Vogel. Who there was an article years ago that they based this on, apparently, where a gotcha type reporter was going to go do an interview with him and was trying to expose him for, it can't possibly be like this. And they based it on that. And this guy has real issues with his father, and and it's just about like him meeting with Mr. Rogers several times and him, helping him deal with this. But it's really about, the main character is played by Matthew Rhys from The Americans, and he does a great job. Just like he's just bitter, and he's like dealing with family issues, and Mr. Rogers is explaining, even he has problems and how he deals with things, and everybody's good in it. But honestly, it's this high just because there is one moment in the movie that just kind of blew me away. And I don't mind telling you what it is because has nothing to do with the story. But there's a moment where I give props totally to the director on this. Her name, let me see, Marielle Heller. I was trying to see what else she did. Oh, Can You Ever Forgive Me? Last year with Melissa McCarthy. That was a great movie. There's a moment where they're like out eating at a diner, and before they eat, Tom Hanks says, "Can we just stop for a moment?" I mean, just a total Mr. Rogers thing or whatever, and says, "Can we stop for a moment and just think about those who loved us into being?" And the guy's like, "What?" You're just like, you would be like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, I don't even know what you're how I would do that. And he's like, "It'll come to you." And he kind of looks down and looks right at the camera, and everybody in the restaurant who can't possibly hear him. I mean, it's a very surreal moment. Everybody kind of looks down, and like 100% everybody in that theater was thinking about their whole life in that 10 seconds. It was just like, it was so well done and grabbed you. You couldn't help but like just think of everything in that moment. It was amazing. I mean, I'm sure it didn't work for everybody, but I've heard other people talking about this, like how amazing that moment was cultivated, and that's why that movie is this high on my list. Is how they did that, and I love the vibe of that movie. It's kind of a dark movie. Was not the movie people expected. Number 8, Rise of the Jar Jar. Where's Star Wars on your list?
12.
This is this high.
It's Star Wars, woo.
Yeah. This is.
I just couldn't ignore all the
Yeah.
problems I had with it.
Yeah, this is this high because I love Star Wars, but I can't love it more than these other actual great movies that are above it. So, Star Wars is your number 1 on your list, right, this year? Huh?
I have no idea.
Oh, God.
I don't do lists.
Number 7, Knives Out.
Oh, my number 2.
Number 2, yeah. Ryan Johnson. Incredible cast. Who done it? We're going to get more of this. Best final shot of any movie this year. I don't know. I loved it. No complaints.
Just a tight mystery movie, but also subverting the typical mystery. You expect, you learn things earlier than you thought you would, and they withhold things longer than you thought. So, really well structured, really well written, perfectly acted.
They get you to root against people figuring out what happened, and then flop that on you. It's very well done. So he wrote that for 10 years, and now they're going to do a sequel. And so I'm like, well, you don't have 10 years, so I don't know that the next one can be as good, but
and also has something to say without pounding you over the head with
amazing.
A very subtle social commentary.
I watched it. The people I watched it with did not get the message. So the some of the more blatant stuff that they're probably like, yeah.
Well, to have Chris Evans, have Captain America himself tell the maid who was of Latin descent. They never specify her home country. They named 5 different countries. They wanted to keep it broad. To have him tell her, we invited you into our family and you took it from us.
Yeah.
Was such a powerful thing to see Mr. America himself.
Yeah.
You know,
I had to explain that to everyone after I saw the movie. It was like, did you hear what he said? It's like, they're making a point. And, well, whatever. Anyway, it was good. Number 6, 1917. I went and saw this twice. This is that Sam Mendes movie, Roger Deakins, the GOAT, cinematographer. Movie set in World War I. Obviously, it's about 2 British soldiers, Schofield and Blake, and they're given a seemingly impossible mission. A race against time to cross enemy territory and deliver a message that will stop a deadly attack that would kill hundreds and hundreds of soldiers. And one of them is their brother.
Private Ryan.
Yeah, basically. Gotta go say Private Ryan again. But it has the illusion of being filmed in one shot. And they do a really good job of hiding the cuts and things. And so you always feel like you've never left these guys. It's so... I've seen it twice, and I'm just still amazed how they make something... You're hour into the movie, and you feel like you've been with these guys for 12 hours. You know, it's just... But you've never left them. I don't know how they pull that off, but it was really good. I love it. Definitely recommend it. I would say go back in time and watch it in the theater.
I feel like that to me is the front runner for Best Picture coming up.
It's up there. I don't know. Try to think what I think. Let me think what I think of Best Picture.
Because it's the traditional. You know, it's a pedigree director. It's a warfare. It's big and epic. A big screen movie. It's technically clever. It just seems like the kind of thing the Academy really goes for.
I would say my next movie is what I want to win Best Picture, but 1917, I would be fine with that. I just would prefer if it was... I know this is crazy because it's my number 5. It's not the best picture on my list, but it's just... This is more of a favorite list. I think this is possibly the best movie on this list. It's Parasite. This is Bong Joon-ho. It's got subtitles, but it's this family who are all employed. One of them starts working for a wealthy family. And I don't want to give anything away. I'm not going to talk about it. Sweet. I'm going to tell you that it is an eat the rich movie, just like Knives Out. There's been a lot of that this year, and I just think I wouldn't want to spoil anything about it. I think everybody's great in it. The overlooked, the dad of that poor family is the one should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but he wasn't. I don't know why. But this movie, I'm lucky that so many movies that are in my top 10 are nominated for Best Picture this year. So I'm right. I'm going to be happy probably with whoever wins, but I would love it if this movie won. It'll definitely win Best Foreign, or that's not what they call it anymore. Do you know what they call it now? Best International?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Something like that. It's not Best Foreign Language anymore. Anyway, this will definitely win that, but I'd like to see it win Best Picture. Number 4, Uncut Gems. This is the Adam Sandler movie the Safdie brothers did. They had Good Time, Robert Pattinson last year, and but they've been working on writing this movie for a while. Adam Sandler was great in it. I thought it was great. Really enjoyed it. It's very. My neck hurt after watching it. I think I said I was just so uncomfortable watching this guy do all the wrong things.
My number 6. I didn't feel the same level of stress as you watching this because it felt
like your life,
real to me, like my life. He owes everyone money, has to borrow from this to pay that, and it's like Michael. That's how I've lived for the last decade and a half. Like, oh, this bill's due today. Got to make sure that money's in that account. Move that over here. Like, I'm living uncut gems right now, uncut comics, I guess. But it's his own fault, and like even when things go right, you know he's going to screw it up instantly.
Yes,
and it's frustrating to watch, but it's also fascinating.
Yeah.
And another Lakeith Stanfield performance that just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah. Kevin Garnett was great in it for what he did.
I feel like if I was a bigger NBA fan, there would be less drama.
Yeah.
Like if you know who won the NBA Finals that year, there'd be a little less drama. But
yeah. And I think that was a great ending. An ending is important, and I think this movie has a really good one. So definitely recommend that. Okay, I'm a little nervous. My number 3 is A Marriage Story. Did you watch it?
I did.
What did you think?
My number 8.
Number 8. Okay. Well, it made your top 10 out of 25. I loved this movie. This is Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson. As it should have been called A Divorce Story because they don't like each other anymore.
But I think that was his point of like showing the whole marriage. Right. It's not just this one part of the marriage; it's the whole thing.
Yeah. But there is so much I like about this movie. Like so much. I've watched it 3 times. I love the last 15 minutes so much. The whole thing's good, but it's just an acting tour de force. It also has Ray Liotta is amazing. Alan Alda is Alan Alda and great. He needs to be in more stuff. This is Noah Baumbach directing it. I was telling you, I think he's like the modern day Woody Allen type movie, of relationships and, constant conversations going on. Also, Laura Dern played Nicole's divorce lawyer or whatever. I would say she's the pretty sure bet to win Best Supporting Actress.
I kind of would have preferred to watch her movie because she, like, every second she was on screen was just magnetic. Like, I wanted to just follow her around. But
yeah, she was good. Yeah. I had one complaint about her. I thought when she first goes to see her and she's giving her she's trying to reel her in.
Yeah.
And that was so obvious. It was like, are you really playing Nicole for a fool?
Yeah.
Like to fall for it because you're really like, it's just too schmoozy. But other than that, she's like the most beautiful Laura Dern that's ever looked. She is dressed to the nines. When she is sitting on the couch, like perfectly posed in the center of the frame, like with flowers around her, I'm like, wow, they're really going for it. But the music is amazing. I can't wait to get the vinyl. It's just gorgeous. But
I really liked it. It just didn't. There's a barrier to me with this kind of movie, and especially that Noah Baumbach does, of really well-off people who they got problems like you and me, man. And it's like they painted him as having financial struggles,
but not
where
really.
It's like,
give me a break.
I'm getting grants and I'm turning down residencies, but because I can't afford that. And it's like, you don't have the same problems as a lot of people.
No, yeah, you
There's
just
definite
don't. I see what you're saying. You're like the poor.
But I'm saying that's a barrier to me. But it's not. It doesn't discount anything. But yeah, I thought the performances were terrific, and the long monologue Scarlett Johansson gives was just probably the highlight of her career.
Yeah.
But about halfway through, I'm like, that's the writing number one advice any writer gets is show, don't tell. And that was like 10 minutes of her telling everything. I'm like, I would really like to see all the stuff she's saying.
Yeah.
How they were close and then this happened. And like she explains everything that happened in the marriage. And it's like, you're just saying it. Like, why couldn't we see that? And that's a lot of this movie is people sitting in rooms talking about what went wrong and never really seeing it happen. But yeah, the not to spoil it, but the knife incident.
Oh, it was amazing.
Just him like trying to get her out the door.
The knife trick is so good. And I have definitely done things like following that up where the kid is totally oblivious to what you're doing. Like kids, he could just be dead. And that kid does not know. Oh, we have to agree, everyone, this is an unsaid thing about this movie. That's the awfulest kid that ever lived. I hate that kid. But I think this movie touched me so much. I'm divorced, whatever. I think anyone that, people have failed relationships, but when you get close enough that you would marry someone, you open up your door and you arm them with everything. You give them everything about you. They know everything. They know all your weaknesses. They know what to say to hurt you the worst. Nobody could hurt you worse than that person. That you're just totally made yourself vulnerable in the biggest way, and now they're going to use that against you someday. And percentages say that's going to happen. And it's like the fact that people do that is, I can't do that again. This is like that's what this movie was to me. It's just like they both have given each other all this ammunition to use against each other, and they don't want to, but they, get controlled, and, the way things happen, they have to start doing it, and it's so disheartening.
And like, I'm sure most people going through that, like, well, I'm not going to do it like everyone else.
Right.
We're going to be okay. Yeah. We're going to remain friends.
He's like that the whole movie. Yeah. A lot of people complain that they think they make him look better. Like, it looks like it makes him look better. But I think, having watched it 3 times, which shouldn't be necessary, but it's so obvious to me that they're pointing out he's oblivious to all of his faults. She obviously has dealt with his garbage for so long.
It's weird. I was thinking it was too skewed the other way, that they were painting him as too bad. So,
well, it definitely, it's definitely he is oblivious to it. But it's just the fact I think people are surface level looking like she's went to all these lawyers, so he can't go to all these lawyers. So it makes her look bad, and she's pretty mean to him in some conversations, so that I think that's what people are talking about. And he's just like, she wouldn't do that. He tells everybody, no, she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do that. We would,
which just shows how little he knows her.
Yeah. The scene also, Merritt Weaver. Amazing.
Yeah.
That scene is so good.
There's a lot of comedy in it too. It's not a dark, dreary drama.
Some funny
There's
stuff.
some really sharp
showing
comedy.
how integrated he is in that family. He comes in and just takes turkey out of the fridge, starts eating it. He gets so gets along so well with her mom and her sister and stuff, and then that. I don't want to spoil all the movie, but it's good. I am going to say that those aren't even the couple best parts to me. When he sings a song with 15 minutes left to go in the movie, and Sondheim, is that right? That's who it is. It's Being Alive, and he sings the first verse about how awful it is, basically, how somebody sits in your chair and does all these things, how takes over your life. And he sits back down and he's like, nope, I'm going to finish the song, and sings about how, give me that. It's like, I want that, that really makes you, there's some of that in the Little Women too, that same vibe with, this year of like, I don't need somebody, but man, I'm so lonely, it's some good stuff. And the thing, where I'm not going to say. There's a moment where he is reading something and he pauses for almost 30 seconds. And it's just like so good. It really cut me. Great movie. Fantastic movie.
It's like a lightsaber in the stomach.
Yeah, when he takes that lightsaber, I was just like, gosh. Not again, Kylo. Okay. Whatever, I'll stop talking about Marriage Story, but it's great. My number 2,
I think
though.
that's the first time we've talked about it on the podcast.
We have.
So
Yeah, I hadn't talked about
a lot of these other movies we've covered in much more detail.
It's number 3.
Yeah, it's top 3.
I'm not going to talk as long about the second one. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love Quentin Tarantino. I love this movie. Saw it a couple times. Brad Pitt will win Best Supporting Actor for this. He's been nominated a couple times. 12 Monkeys. Something else. Definitely been nominated as a producer. Now that he's produced a bunch of movies. But plays Cliff Booth. He's great in it. But so Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio is great. Everybody's great. Margot Robbie plays Sharon Tate. I really liked how Quentin Tarantino, I listened to an interview, he mentioned about her. She is a friendly ghost haunting this movie. I was like, that is right. That is exactly what she is in that. And my favorite thing about the movie is the relationship between, actually just Cliff Booth is really my favorite thing. Like being the stunt guy. He says early on in the movie, I carry his load. Everything Rick Dalton is doing is being the actor, and Cliff Booth.
I'm the unnamed stunt man.
Right. Cliff Booth is doing it for real. In the middle of the movie, when Rick is on a movie set of a western town, dealing with against the bad guy his foe in a movie, Cliff Booth is also on a movie set in a western town, dealing with real stakes because he's the stuntman. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing.
It was my number 4. I said it wasn't my favorite Tarantino, but any Tarantino is excellent and worth watching and interesting. And what he did with the music and the set decoration, costuming, just like no other movie looks like a Tarantino movie. And just it doesn't matter what it's about, even it's interesting to watch. So even just driving down Hollywood Boulevard in a car is fascinating to watch. So.
Flipping all the lights on as it gets dark. Oh, so good. Yeah, it's not even top 5 probably for me of Tarantino movies, but still, that doesn't mean anything. It's still great. And my number 1 is not anybody's number 1 unless they're it's totally
unless you're me and you unanimous
right.
Here.
This is your number 1, obviously,
yes,
right? Yeah,
yes.
It's got to be Avengers Endgame. I cried. I mean, I cried at some of these other movies, but I cried tears in that theater. Some of the best things my eyes have ever seen. I've seen the glory.
And it hasn't dimmed to me. Like, I'm still... Like, normally I watch one of these movies and there's a buzz to it. Yeah, it was exciting. And then you read and think, well, yeah, that didn't really... but I have not been critical whatsoever with this movie. It just was fun and powerful and exciting and unbelievable that we said a million times that it even exists.
They pulled it off.
Yeah.
Should never have been able to be done. They did I can't imagine anybody pulling this off again. To do 20 movies and end it perfectly, you did it. And so it's got to be my number 1, especially when something's so close to my heart. No
matter what great films are on this list this year, there's no movie-going moment that's may ever top that for me. I don't know. That's hard to
2 words.
say.
Avengers Assemble.
Wow,
that was amazing. So we did it. That's it. Was there anything you didn't say?
No.
Okay. So that was the movies of 2019 that we saw. We loved. I hope something on there sounded interesting. You should check out. Maybe you didn't hear about.
Yeah, that's why I use this. Years from now, I'll hear one of those weird. Oh, it's that Casey Affleck movie he mentioned, and I will tune in because I like. It's our recommendation to you out there. So thanks again for listening. The Oscars are coming up soon, so
I took the week off.
Really?
Yeah, well, I seriously did. I usually try to make sure I'm off for the Oscars just because that's kind of my Super Bowl, like, you know, especially when it's a year like this. So many of the movies I liked are up for awards. But it happens to be, I didn't just take the week off for that. It happens to be the same week as the All Winners Survivor premiere. And I also have D&D and Dragon Age that week. And our Trivia Championship is all that week. I took the whole week.
Right.
So it was worth it.
Is that when Lock and Key comes out as well? Or is that
it comes out 2 days before that week.
Okay, so you'll have all week to rewatch.
This is a perfect storm.
So there you go, everybody. There's our annual Poobah Awards, looking back at 2019. From now on, we're off into the future. Thanks for listening. My name is Jordan.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Goodbye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com.
Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird. Bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird. Well, a bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird. Well, a bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird. Well, the bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird. The bird's a word.
We're going to get a copyright hit on YouTube for this.
Well, everybody knows.